Hello and welcome. I'm Bonnie Salomon. For those of you who tuned in at the noon hour, we had some technical difficulties. And so my apologies for beginning late. And we'll be sending out the recording for those of you who have been unable to connect with us to now. Let's see if we can get our... So I'm Bonnie Salomon, as I said, and together with my partner, Judy Keating, we are Wise Transformation, and we help you open to soul alignment. So this is a particularly amazing time of year. And so to begin, let's call in sacred space. And you can do this however you choose. We will call in the elements and some assistance from the other side. If you have anything special that you would like to call in on this occasion, please. Okay, so as we put our feet on the ground and we feel the earth beneath us, we thank Earth for its amazing abundance, for the opportunity to be nurtured by all that Mother Nature has to offer. We call in the element of water. We call in the emotional realm. We call in fully all of our emotions. May they all be present as we begin to look at the abundance that is ours. We'll call in the element of air. Air is a mental realm, and it is the realm of our thoughts. It's the realm of our imagination and the realm of our intentions as we look at this abundant season together. I'm going to call in the element of fire, passion, the element of getting it done, the element of moving forward and taking action for what is most important in our lives. We call in spirit, the God of our understanding, all that is, nature, God, Goddess, whatever you call that creator, that's the perfect name. So call that in and feel that energy within you. I'm going to call in the ancestors, those who worked the fields, who fed their families and their communities from the abundance of Mother Earth. They are, to us, the guiding light. They taught us how to take care of the land, to nurture it, to make it fertile. They taught us how to live. They taught us appreciation. They taught us what it is to be human. We are grateful, very grateful to them as well. Now we call then the energy of gratitude of all times of the year. This is a time to particularly look at our gratitude for all that is. And so it is. Well, here we are, another cross-quarter day. This is the ancient wheel of the year, and you can see that we have come around to August 1st, Lughnasadh. It is a cross-quarter day, which is what comes between the solstices and the equinoxes. And so that every 6 weeks, there's a turn of the wheel of the year, and we begin to face another energy, another time. So here we are at Lughnasadh, between the summer solstice and the autumnal equinox. It is a time of the harvest, our beautiful harvest. So here we are, those of us who are celebrating this at noonish on August 1st in the northern climes. For us, in the southern part of North America and the southern part of Europe, we're celebrating really the second harvest. So let's look at the history of Lughnasadh. It's the celebration of the first grain harvest, a time for gathering in and giving thanks for abundance. Mabon, or the autumn equinox, is the second harvest of fruit, and Samhain is the third and final harvest of nuts and berries. The word Lammas is derived from Lughnasadh and is indicative of how central and honored is the first grain and the first loaf of the harvesting cycle. So we're going to talk about that in a bit. I am going to hopefully assist others, and see if we can get some more folks in. Okay, so it's the great festival of Lugh, or Lugh, the great Celtic sun king and god of light. This is his sacred month, and he has chosen this for the festivities to be in honor of his mother, Tailtiu. What a special, special time in Celtic history, as we see how the expansion of the events of the harvest began to take shape. So we're talking some pretty ancient times here. So Lughnasadh is mentioned in some of the earliest Irish literature and has pagan origins. It inspired great gatherings that included religious ceremonies, ritual athletic contests, feasting, matchmaking, and trading. So Lughnasadh occurred during a very poor time of the year. Now, keep in mind, these folks were living on the earth and from the earth. So some of the old crops were done and the new ones had not yet come up for harvest. So think about this. This is, how are we going to celebrate this when we have so little? But it was these kinds of activities, these ceremonies and rituals, that really lightened the spirits of the folks that were so dependent on the harvest to make their way in the world, to have food for the seasons, to feed their family. Also, there were visits to holy wells. According to folklorist Mary McNeil, evidence shows that the religious rites included an offering of the first fruits, a feast of the new food and of bilberries, the sacrifice of a bull, and a ritual dance play in which Lugh seizes the harvest for mankind and defeats the powers of the blight. So thinking about that too, we have no way to know what blights might have befallen the harvest, the crops. And so there was so much iffiness, if you will. And yet the celebrations went on. And I think that's really important for us these days to understand that regardless of what we're seeing with our eyes at this moment, there is more beneath. There is harvest waiting for us to gather. So many of these rituals were done on the hillsides, gone up into the mountains and celebrated there. So this is Lugh's mother. And it said that she died of exhaustion after clearing the plains of Ireland for agriculture. Imagine that was a pretty big job. And he did establish this festival and the funeral games in her honor. So as late as the 18th century, they were still celebrating in this old way. I think it's beautiful to see how the mother, not just Lugh's mother, but Mother Earth, continued to be celebrated throughout. In the Greek understanding, the grain mother was Demeter, and Demeter and Persephone played a very important role historically. So Demeter was the corn mother, and she represents the corn of this year's harvest. Corn of the harvest, that's the completed fruit. Persephone, on the other hand, represented the grain, the seed which drops back deep into the dark earth, hidden throughout the winter, and reappears in the spring as new growth. So important that we're going to continue to talk about seeds as we go through this ritual. So this is the deep core meaning of Lammas and comes in different guises. So let me say again, for those of you who hopped on late, Lughnasadh and Lammas, the same holiday called by different names. Lughnasadh in honor of Lugh, and Lammas, love mass, because it is the representation of the first harvest. So the fullness and fulfillment of the present harvest already holds at its very heart the seat of all future harvest. And the more I focus on the seed, not just what is coming in now, what we have right now, which is, of course, of major importance. And we don't want to forget that we need to think ahead. We need to plan for the next harvest. What are we going to reap in the next harvest? So let's take a couple of moments. I hope you have a journal or a pen and paper handy. As you think about what we've been talking about, how so many labored to bring forth the harvest that would feed them, that would feed their family, would feed the community. They labored to bring it forth. And can you imagine that feeling of fulfillment when that harvest comes in and they get to see the fruits of their labors? What an amazing time. Of course they want to celebrate. I definitely would want to celebrate too. So I want you to think about these two questions, and I'll give you a few moments to journal, and hopefully some of you may share what you're journaling about. What have you labored to bring forth? What is it that you have worked so hard? I mean, maybe you have a garden, maybe you're reaping tomatoes and peas and all sorts of good things. Short of that, or long of that, what have you labored to bring in, and what are you presently harvesting? I'm going to give you a few silent moments and think about these questions, jot down some notes, and hopefully we can share shortly. Okay. So I hope you'll feel free to share one of your harvest stories. What have you been laboring over? What have you been working on? What has been the focus of your time during the growing season? So feel free to just unmute yourself and come on in and share. I guess we have some shy folks this morning. So I will share a bit. I finally find myself in a home that we have wanted for a very long time after 2 moves in the same year. That was a great deal of labor, I must say. We're very comfortable in our new place. We love it. We love the location. And so I finally feel like I can breathe a bit and really enjoy where we are. So I see we have a chat, and this is from Melissa. Oh, she said she's in an area where she needs to stay muted. Melissa, how about could you share with us something that you've been working on in harvesting? Excuse me, folks. You seem to have caught the frog in my throat this morning. I live in a place where allergies are pretty present 12 months a year. So I've been harvesting my sinuses for quite a long time. Okay, let's see. Oh, Melissa, that's so beautiful. Melissa has harvested the healing of old emotional wounds. That is such a gift, not just to you, Melissa, but to those who know you, because I'm sure that no one wants to see you suffering under the weight of those emotional wounds. It's so important that as part of the work we do, it's not all about the outer world. It's about your inner world as well. And I'm going to stop for just a second and grab a drink. Okay. So would anyone else like to share? That's beautiful, Melissa. I think that, well, we have another chat. Cynthia. Cynthia's harvesting, releasing judgment. Wow, I have to take a deep breath on that one. It is so large, the idea of judgment. And those of you who have connected with me before know how I feel about the difference between judgment and discernment. So it's critically important that we take care of ourselves, that we surround ourselves with people who can uplift us, bring us joy, serve our need to be loved unconditionally if possible. And it's so important to understand that you are discerning what is best for you. And if you have to end a relationship or leave a position or move to another location, that's part of the discernment package. Judgment, on the other hand, is judging people, judging things harshly without the understanding that you get to choose, that discernment piece. So I just wanted to share that and know that as you move forward, you are looking for things to discern what is best for you under the present circumstances. And judgment often goes along with fear. And we judge because we're afraid of a particular situation, a particular person, for whatever the reasons. And they can be a myriad of reasons. So just wanted to add that, because that judgment piece is really important to to having our peace of mind. So thank you, both of you, for bringing those points home. See if I can. Let's talk about a few rituals and traditions for Lammas. I love this. The more you are thankful, the more you attract things to be thankful for. It goes back to that gratitude piece that we called in the beginning. And again, if there's ever an event, a time of the year for gratitude, yes, it's Thanksgiving, absolutely, but it's also the Lughnasadh Lammas window. The importance of understanding that we have to be grateful for what is our harvest right now. Right now, we're not thinking about next year's harvest or even tomorrow's harvest, but today. What gratitude we have for what's here today. So the sun god's power, that's Lugh, is beginning to wane, and we are fast approaching the dark half of the year. We revel in the last of the warmth and the long days, and give thanks for the earth's bounty and the beauty that surrounds us. Just think about that for a minute. Have you taken the time to enjoy the long days? Have you been out on your patio or your porch at the end of the day and have given gratitude for those extra hours, for the sunlight, for the beauty of what's surrounding you? Perhaps there's trees and flowers. Maybe you have a garden and you're seeing things in your garden. Or maybe it's the people around you, the friendships that you're harvesting. I know for me, that's a huge piece. I feel so blessed to have the people in my life that make a difference. And they're the harvest of my heart. So think about that as well. Well, my computer's just, and we're going to just have a few challenges. Okay, so let's talk about Sabbath. Now, I've always thought Sabbath was the Sabbath, and I have come to learn that we talked about the wheel of the year, we talked about the solstices and equinoxes and the cross-quarter days. Well, that's what a Sabbath is. It's any of 8 neo-pagan religious festivals commemorating phases of the changing seasons. And I will carry on. So that gave me a new sense of pagan ritual. And Sabbath has been in use since 1652. So yeah, each one of those days, the winter equinox, winter solstice is a Sabbath. Spring equinox, a Sabbath. Imbolc, between the two, a Sabbath. And on it goes around the wheel of the year. So the Lammas Sabbath was traditionally celebrated on a hill or mountaintop. And if you plan to celebrate outdoors, you might consider going up to the highest ground that you have. Maybe you're in the Midwest and there's not a lot of high ground, but finding the highest place that you can and creating a little altar, wherever that is. It can be some stones, it can be a piece of fruit, some seeds, some nuts. Those are all great things to put on a Sabbat altar for Lammas. And you're going to turn your altar to the west, which is the season of autumn. And you're going to see that abundance continue through till the autumn. Because remember, Lammas is the first grain harvest, and there's more to come. So the altar to the west is inviting you to continue to bring forth that abundance through all the harvesting seasons. Computer today, come on. It's been a day of challenges. Okay, so here are some traditions that if you're in the mood, you might do this, or certainly go to the store and create. So what you want to do is you want to get some kind of bread. You have a bread maker, make your own bread. Make sure it has seeds. Remember, we talked about those seeds, understanding that we're looking towards future harvests too, not just the one that's happening today. And so the first sheaf of grain that's brought in makes a loaf, and that is shared within the community. Maybe it takes a few loaves, but it's from that first sheaf. And then the last sheaf is a corn doll, a corn husk doll. It's kind of fun. And as you share this bread, here's a prayer of gratitude. May we take this time to offer our gratitude for the food we are about to eat. And may we acknowledge all that has gone into this meal: the plants, the animals, Mother Earth, divine love, and the love of those who have taken the time to prepare this food. And that's a prayer that I think about every time I eat a meal. May we remain ever thankful, ever loving, and compassionate to those around us. May we remember those who do not get to share this moment as we are. And may we wish them good fortune and hope. Beautiful prayer. And I'm going to read it again. And as I read it, please consider some line in this poem, this prayer, that speaks to you. And if you feel comfortable, share with me what that meant. So may we take this time to offer our gratitude for the food we're about to eat. And may we acknowledge all that has gone into this meal: the plants, the animals, Mother Earth, divine love, and the love of those who have taken the time to prepare this food. May we remain ever thankful, ever loving and compassionate to those around us. May we remember those who do not get to share this moment as we are, and may we wish them good fortune and hope. I'm going to open the floor in just a minute. I just want to say, when I think about gratitude for the food, I don't often think about the animals, the bees that pollinate, the blessed bees that we are finding fewer and fewer of. And I pray for them, the importance of them, the importance of, well, it used to be the oxen that helped to plow the fields. Those are things that we may not think about. The animals that died so that we can have fuel. Anyway, that's what this prayer of gratitude brought up for me. And I wonder if anyone would like to share what the prayer has brought up for them. Certainly chat, put something in the chat or unmute. No, please feel free as I continue. If something comes up for you, you want to share it, we're here. So I want to talk about seeds because I love this. And this is, whoops, this is something that I had not thought about until recent years. Here's 4 generations of women. And when I think about the seeds, our grandmother carried the seed of us that she gave to our mother, who gave to us, and we will share with our children. So as far back as you can remember, our grandmothers were carrying the seeds for generations and generations. And so we too are carrying seeds. Now, it may not be that we are birthing a child, but we are carrying the seeds that will change the world. Even if it's just a small part of your world, the seeds that you carry and the seeds that you plant in the coming growing seasons will have an amazing effect on the world. So Lammas, when we talk about these particular seeds that Persephone carried and dropped for the next growing season, think about yourself as Persephone, leaving the seeds for what is to grow in the coming season. I love that thought. And I did not know my great-grandparents or my grandparents. And so to me, that is the connection that I hold, that I am carrying their seed and have passed that seed on. I just love that idea. So the grain mother is ripe and full. Heavily pregnant, she carries the seed of the New Year's sun god within her. So here we're going to take another minute for you to consider, perhaps a journal. Can you begin to feel the seed that you are carrying within for the next growing season? It is just the beginning of an inkling of a seed, just a tiny little thing. Is it speaking to you? Do you recognize it? And do you have any idea of what that seed might grow into? Let me give you a few moments to consider. Again, we'll just be quiet and I will mute. And please consider these 2 questions. I'd like to open it if anyone would like to share. You feel a seed beginning to just be sitting in the fertile ground of your mind and your heart. anything that's speaking to you about what's to come. For me, I know that I have lived a good long time, and I want to share my experiences so that others may find a peaceful way through some of their challenges, that they know they're not alone, that we all have things in our past that are perhaps troublesome. And I hope that I have some wisdom to share to bring peace to others. That's the inkling of what I have. How about you all? So if you could drop something in the chat. We've got a comment. Cynthia shares, knowing that even seeds in the packet that I have yet to plant carry the stored energy and potential for the future. Awesome. Awesome, Cynthia. So we're talking about a physical packet of seeds that you have yet to plant. I think that carries well over into the container of us, that stored energy and potential. It's inside of us. That's beautiful, Cynthia. Thank you very much. Yeah, it's great. Oh, this is so fun. This is really fun. I learned from a very, very wise teacher. Wait, let's before we go on to that. Melissa says to break dysfunctional cycles as a grandmother raising two of my grands. Wow, Melissa. Wow, what a gift. What a gift to the world. I do believe that those of us who are doing the kind of work that we do in the world are to break those dysfunctional patterns from the ancestors. Thank you, Melissa. Thank you. So, Christy Gray, who is a very wise woman who lives in Athens, Georgia, taught me about a Lamist tradition of bragging and boasting. So while we're celebrating our harvests, we also need to celebrate our own skills and abilities. So do you sing? Are you a great cook? A writer, a filmmaker? As in Melissa's case, a loving family container? Are you supporting your community? Or what are you in the process of learning? So take a minute and brag. What is it that you want to boast about? What do you want to speak into? I've heard from a couple of people, and thank you for sharing, Melissa and Cynthia. That was very beautiful. What can you boast about? What would you like to brag about and say? And that's not in an egotistical way. I'm talking about an acknowledgement, and perhaps that's even a better word, to acknowledge what the heck you have been working on, what you have been putting all your energies to, so that you can become a better person, a better parent, a better partner, a better coworker. What is it that you would say, wow, I did that well, and I'm not afraid to say so. So I'm hoping one of you will chat in, tell me what that is. we are to be challenged here. Ta-da. So we're just now tapping into what are we feeling good about, the things we've done, the life we've had. And I want you to think about the fact that it's darn hard work building a life that you love. Just living life in general, as we look around, thinking about all that we've come through in the last couple of years, a really challenging time between COVID and now some financial issues and slowdown of the economy and wars in other parts of the world. There's so much. And we face opportunities every day to find a way through to building the life that we really want to have. It's not easy, and it requires energy. It requires thought, requires planning, requires loving, requires self-care, requires reaching out, finding ways. So I want you on this day and going forward to appreciate everything that you have done, all the hurdles that you have jumped, all the puddles you have jumped over, and the challenges that life has put in your way. And appreciate you and appreciate all that you have done to create this life. It's pretty amazing. I want to thank these websites, Goddess and Green Man, The Seasonal Soul, and Learn Religions. These are magnificent sources. And mostly I want to thank you. You are part of the abundance that Judy Keating and I are able to reap, to touch you, to have you connect with us in whatever way is meaningful for you. If you'd like more information, if you'd like to touch with me, please contact me. It's very simple. Bonnie@wisetransformation.com. Bonnie@wisetransformation.com. Would love to hear from you. And may your harvest continue to be abundant and rich in every way that you see possible. So thank you very much for being with us, and have a magnificent Lughnasadh experience. Bye-bye.